for this church. God's called you to be leaders in this church. Now, some of you don't have titles and whatever, that's fine. But God has still called you to be a leader. I know when I first went to Sunbury, they were really in a mess. They were. The preacher had divorced his wife. He ended up marrying a deacon's wife. The deacon ended up dying of cancer. Just a mess. And when I went to that church, elders were not speaking to one another. 3 of them had vacationed together with the preacher and were really, really tight with him. And the other ones were saying, something's going on here, something's not right. They didn't want to believe it. It ended up being the case. And so it just really put them at odds with each other. One elder would be going down a hallway, he'd see the other, he would go the other direction, literally. That's what I walked into at Sunbury. And what I did then for my first meeting, I said, guys, has everything been done that can be done to fix this, okay? Have we done everything in this? And the one who was the chairman of the elders at the time said, you know, I've been wondering how in the world to ask that question for the last 2 meetings. I don't think everything is done. 2 of them said, yes, let's not go back there again, everything's been done. 2 of them said, no, we need to fix some things. And 2 of them said, I don't know. So what I did is I asked for permission to get together with a Christian counselor. He was from Worthington, and I sat down and talked with him. They gave me his name. I did not know the man. Sat down and talked with him, to Bob Evans. We then went through a few things, invited him to our next elders meeting. He went 2 questions with the elders, and they went for 3 hours on 2 questions, and it was hot. But that's what needed to happen. It needed to be in the room. It needed to be out on the table, and it needed to be dealt with. So after that, that was the only time he was there. For the next 2 months, I got together with these men and we worked through personal issues, doctrinal issues with the church. How are we going to put this together? After we did that, the one guy, he was an elder. He was a vice, I want to say vice president of Delaware County Bank, Don Blackburn. And when I first asked him this, he said, don't do it, don't do it. It's just going to create more problems. It was one of those. But when we were done doing it, he said, Mike, this has been one of the best things that could have happened to us. Is that we literally took it on. And with it, he then stood up before the next board meeting with the deacons and said, guys, I think we have been healed personally to the point where that we can now talk with you. And so then they invited the deacons for the next 2 months to come to the elders and talk with them about their feelings and their hurts and whatever. And then after that, went before the church and said, church, this is what we've done. Elders have taken time. We have prayed about, we have worked through. We then have done this with the deacons. Now we think we're ready for you. If you have questions about what has taken place, if you have hurts, if we need to pray with you, whatever. We took 6 months with the leadership to be able to get things back on track, all right? It's just a huge hurt when the leadership becomes divided. It just is. So I would rather do things like this, and I appreciate your time and your effort to be here, but just to take on things. Who are we? And the more that we know about each other, the more we're going to be able to trust each other. The more that we trust each other, then the more we can support each other. I mean, I've gotten together with several of you one-on-one, and I love it. Some of it's just for pickleball, and that's not. But even that has gotten me to know guys in a way that I wouldn't have otherwise, okay? It can be a meal, it can be whatever. When I first went to Sebring Church, I would do this with all the elders. I would visit in their homes. And one of the elders that was there said, I don't need a visit from the preacher. I've been an elder for X amount of years, and I've never had a preacher visit me in my home. You visit the people in the church. I said, nope. I said, I need to be in your home. I need to visit with you and your wife. And we did that, and it changed our relationship. Because he got to hear my heart, see me for a real person rather than just in a meeting and from the pulpit and all that stuff. And it's just, after we did that, I would then visit the elders in their workplace. I wanted to know where they worked. I wanted to get a picture. When I talked to them on the phone, now I know where they are in their office. And I know what they do for a living. And we walked through and just all these other kind of things. It was great relationship building things. And so because of that, I worked well with the elders. I really did. Because we knew each other, we trusted each other, and we supported each other. I think that's just huge. And so what you guys are doing right now is more than just a history lesson. That's not what this is really about. It's going to be helpful. You know, it's where did we come from, where are we going, that kind of a thing. But it's also about this getting together kind of a thing. So